Hello and welcome to Learn Data. It's great to have you on this channel. I'm Nilesh, and in this couple of videos we are going to take a detour from pandas and talk about basic descriptive statistics. And the reason for this is that in coming videos, when we start using some of these statistical methods in the code, you'll be able to interpret what the output is, and you'll have an intuition about what's probably happening in the background when the code ran to give you that particular output. So here in this couple of videos, we're going to talk about all these topics that are put here on this slide, starting with what is population and sampling statistics, and then what is histogram, mean, standard deviation, all the way up to geometric mean and harmonic mean. So there's a lot of stuff in here, and I tried to make one video, but it was more than an hour, so I've broken that up into multiple videos, and in each of those videos you'll see parts of this being discussed. So I hope you learn from these videos. So let's get started. Now let's look at percentile and quartile. So this is important. This is a busy slide. I'll explain it one by one. First, let's look at the top heading. Percentile is tells us how much data points or observations are below that particular number, and quartile relates to this box plot. So 25th percentile is first quartile, as shown by this lowest line of the rectangle. So that's the first quartile. Now again, we measured the battery life of these 7 laptops, and we sort them, arrange them in ascending order. Each of those laptops, thinking in Pythonic way, if we put them in an array, the first one would have an index of 0, so we label them as laptop 0 through laptop 6. Now to calculate the percentile, there are several methods to do this. The method we are using here is a linear method that is used in Python, NumPy. In Python there are other methods as well, but here this is the one that we are going to look at. First, we want to take the percentile that you are trying to calculate. In this case it's 25, so 25 divided by 100 multiplied by n minus 1. So here why we are subtracting 1 in this case is because for linear method of calculating percentile, we need the distance between the first and the last data point. So in this case, the distance between the first and the last data point would be 7 minus 1, 6, and that's why we are using that here. So if we calculate this, we get a value of 1.5. Now there is no observation at rank 1.5. We either have 1 or we have 2. There is no 1.5 there. So what do we do? To proceed, what we want to do is use this 1 and this 0.5 separately. So at index 1, which is, we take the part on the to the left of the decimal, which is 1. So we look at index 1 and find the value at that index. Here it is 34. Then we label it as lower value, as we see here. Lower is equal to 34. Then we go ahead and look at the value that is 1 up from lower. That would be index 2. Again, this is 34 here. And if we go down here, the 34 value is for higher. Then what we want to do is put them in this formula, which is 0.5, which is this decimal that we calculated above here. That 0.5 comes from this 1.5. So if it was 1.75, then we would put a 1.75 right here. So 0.5 into higher minus lower. So here both are 34, so 34 minus 34 plus lower, so this is 34 from lower, and when we solve this we get 34 as the final answer, and that's the observation at the 25th percentile, and that's what we see here. Next, let's look at the 50th percentile. So for 50th percentile, we see that the method is the same again. So instead of 25 we are going to use 50, and in this case we get a nice number 3, and there is a value at index 3 and that is 40. Therefore we say that the observation at the 50th percentile was 40, and that's also the median of this particular data set. And the median, so the 50th percentile, as if you look at the heading here, 50th percentile is also the second quartile or the median for if you look at the box plot. Moving on to calculate the 75th percentile or the third quartile, we are going to replace this value right here in the formula by 75. So 75 divided by 100, rest stays the same. We get a value of 4.5. So we look at the observation at index 4. So index 4 we have 55. We put it as lower, and then one up from that at index 5 we have 67, so that's what we use for higher. And after that we use that in the formula. So lower plus the item, the decimal number, so we have 0.5 there, into open close parenthesis, there we have higher minus lower, so 55 plus 0.5 into 67 minus 55, so we have 61 as the number. So at 75th percentile we have the value is 61. So that was for how you calculate the 25th percentile, median, or the 50th percentile, 75th percentile, or in other words first, second and third quartiles. That was it for this video. In next video we'll continue this discussion on statistics. Please like, share and subscribe. Thank you.